Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another locomotive review. Today, as you can probably tell, I'm going to be unboxing the Hornby 9F with the Franco Crosti boiler. And no, I didn't just sneeze, that is genuinely what this thing is called. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that means in just a second. But as you can see by the box, this is a Hornby Railroad locomotive. And I'm not too sure why it is, because the detail on this, as we're going to see, is really very good. And all they really need to do is detail the cab, you know, put some painting inside the cab, and they would have a Hornby Railways model. But no, nonetheless, it is in a railroad box, and expensive as it is, it's still considered a railroad loco. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the end of the box. As you can see, this is our 3396 TTS, early BR, class 9F, Crosti boiler, 92025, which is the running number, TTS Sound, decoder fitted. And yes, as you can see by the top of the box here, this is the TTS Sound version. And yeah, I'm quite glad I waited for this now, because I never bought this when it first came out, but now that the TTS Sound one is here, I just sort of had to. So here it is anyway. So anyway, let me get this one out. Hopefully it should be nice and easy too. There it is. And let's have a quick look at some of this paperwork. Alright, the first one we've got is the sound decoder manual for the 9F. And I think all of these decoders are about the same, of course, but it is nice to see which sounds they have. So as you can see there, it's got a big list of the sounds. So that's always very useful, but normally I just have a play and figure out what they are anyway. So, okay, and this one is the operating and maintenance instructions for the 9F, or the 9F Crosti boiler. And yeah, that's got all the basics inside it, how to fit decoders into the sound and non-sound versions. Yeah, it looks pretty good, that does, so that's just fine. But let's do the part we're all looking forward to, which is unboxing it. So let me just turn that back, and I'll move this good fun plasticky stuff out the way so that you can see the loco. And the first thing, I'll have a look what's in the detail pack, although I'm sure we can all guess, and I can't seem to get hold of it. Here it is. Yeah, it's basically the same, except this time we have front coupling presumably, but yeah, a couple of vacuum pipes in there, that's all it is, so you can fit those if you want to. Alright, let's try and get this loco out then. Now I think the packaging, if I remember on this, is quite free. It's not too tight on the loco, so you can just grab the plastic and pull it out. And that's a lot better, because a lot of these locos, you have to really fight with them to get them out of the packaging, and that's not good. Okay, here we go then. Very different, I must say, to the normal 9F. I suppose the lack of smoke deflectors makes it very different. But there it is, the Franco Crosti 9F. And it's very heavy, I must say. The tender too has a fair bit of weight to it. But yes, a very nice model, and as you can see, very well detailed. So we're going to come on to the detail on this in just a second, but first of all, here's a little bit of history on the 9F, and also a bit of history on the Franco Crosti boiler. So, designed by Robert Riddles, the 9Fs were actually the last standard locomotives to be produced for British Railways. They represented the ultimate development in freight locomotives and proved themselves to be extremely fast and powerful, with those 10 driving wheels, of course. Between 1954 and 1960, over 200 9F locomotives were built, but only 10 of those were fitted with this Franco Crosti boiler, which was considerably more complicated than traditional boilers, because the exhaust gas, the heat from the exhaust gas, was used to start heating the water before it was fed into the main boiler. And although this new Crosti boiler was intended to improve efficiency, apparently the results were quite unimpressive, and it was just deemed too complicated to continue fitting them, so only those 10 had them in the end. And in total, 9 of the class have been preserved, though sadly the rest were scrapped. Okay, let's carry on with the review. So there she is then, the Franco Crosti 9F up against the white background, and yes, she does have a real presence about it, doesn't she? And actually I think this side, the side I'm showing you right now, is even more unusual looking than the other side I was showing you, because of this contraption mounted on the side. And actually, I didn't know this until I read up on it, but apparently this thing is actually the chimney. The chimney at the front here was only used while they were getting it started, but for the most part the smoke and mess would come out of this chimney, which is quite interesting. But yes, it's certainly very odd looking, isn't it? And I don't recall seeing any other locomotives that have a chimney halfway down the boiler, so yeah, that is pretty cool. But yeah, as I was saying, the detail is really very good on this. Now there is some clever designing going on here, because if you look, this piping here, as you can see just in front of the cab, I would have sworn that that was separately fitted, but it's not. It is actually moulded on, but they've just moulded it in such a way that it just looks so convincing. It's very good. And below the cab as well, of course, lots more pipework there. I believe it is all part of the same moulding, but again, it just looks separately fitted. It's very, very clever for me to do that. And again, of course, that kind of detail is of a, I would say, of a railway standard, though. Of course, it would probably need to be painted. And the same is true all over the locomotive, really. Of course, you've got so much different pipework, as you can see underneath that marvellous chimney. It is just a very, very nicely detailed moulding, I think. It really is very good. Okay, let's look at some of the separately fitted parts then. I suppose around the front is a very interesting place to start. Just look at the detail on there. I don't know how much of that is separately fitted, but of course you do have the handrail there, and of course the handrail which goes along the length of the boiler too. So you've got those, and then on the front buffer beam you have sprung buffers, of course. Let me show you, there it is. And also the buffer beam, while we're on it, look at the detail on that. Lots and lots of riveting there, which is very, very nice indeed. And while we're still on the subject of separately fitted parts, you have the two safety valves, presumably, on the top there, which look like they're turned metal, which is very nice. And of course you have the separately fitted cab windows in the sort of, I think it's called diamond, isn't it, or something like that. Very nice to have glazed windows on a model like this. It's very, very impressive. Alright, let's have a look at some of the paintwork then. Of course, there's not too much on this because it is just a black plastic moulding. But on the side of the cab you have got the class and the running number, which is 92025, of course. And if we look at it closely, you can see it is very nicely applied. Back to the smoke box door then, because you've got the running number on the front there, once again. And underneath there you have the 15A, which presumably is the shed. And then also, which is unlike most railroad models, you have this tiny little badge which says built, and then the date, which I can't see what that says, and then crew. So that is nice. I wasn't expecting that, certainly from a railroad model. Okay, let's have a quick look inside the cab then. As you can see, there is cab detail there as usual, but sadly it's not painted. But again, you know, this model is very, very close to being a Hornby Railways model. I think the detail on it is just so not only good, but clever in the way that it's done. So yes, I like that, and of course the linkage is very nice looking. It's very fine scale as well. Okay, so cool. Let's have a look at the tender then, and this tender is not the same as the original Hornby 9F tender. It looks to be like a new design, because the old design was very problematic, and certainly on every version I ever saw, the centre wheels were just seized up. So they fixed that, and obviously they did need a different tender to put the sound in. But yeah, as you can see, it's got the early British Railways crest on the side of the tender, which I do like a lot. And of course the whole tender has a lot of riveting on it, which is very nice too. If we have a look on top at the coal, you have quite a nice looking coal load, I'd say, certainly a good detailed one. I wouldn't have thought you could remove it because it does look like it's fixed in there, but yeah, who knows, I'm not going to try, but yes, maybe. Okay, let's have a look around the back then. Again, you have quite a lot of moulded detail there, as well as a separately fitted ladder, which I do like a lot. And as you can see, there's some printed detail on there, which says water capacity 4725 gallons. And another one on the top which says RIB 97, goodness knows, yeah, if anyone knows what that means, let me know. But yes, that's it. What a very, very nice loco. Once again then, I've managed to find yet another railroad locomotive that has just fantastic detail. Of course, this is an expensive locomotive as well, but looking at it, I can probably see why. Alright, let's get this onto the track then and see how it runs, shall we? Alright folks, well there she is then onto the track, number 92025, and I'm going to get her tested in just a second, but first of all, here's what she's going to be pulling. It's some of the larger wheelbase wagons. Some of them have got stones in them, so hopefully that will make quite a heavy train. And then on the middle line I have the regular 9F, the slightly older one that Hornby brought out, and again she's got some wagons, some freight, but this time they are the ocean wagons, so hopefully you'll enjoy seeing that. And then on the very inner line I have another BR standard locomotive, well I think it is anyway, and this is the 8F number 48154, which is a 280, and she's pulling some tanker wagons, which hopefully will look quite nice. But yes, time to get the lovely Crosti 9F up and running then, and of course she is on DCC, so I'm going to be running through the iPad today. So yeah, let's get this started. Let's try and turn the sound on. So I'm just looking for the loco on the list. Oh, there it is, right at the bottom. Alright, and I'm going to hit the sound button. There you have it. Okay, so we have sound. Okay, let me try a few of these then. Let's try whistle 2 bursts. There we go, it's a bit pathetic. and that was the whistle long. So yeah, these newer TTS locos are better because they're not too loud. The older ones used to be a little loud and it used to get distorted, but these aren't too bad. Alright, let me set this to forwards then, and I'm going to press the shunt button and see how she does at slow speeds. There we go, that's not too bad. That's at 10 miles an hour apparently. Set that to reverse, bring it back. See if I can get it to go slower then. Set it to 5 if I can. Okay, that is very, very, very slow. This has been run in actually, so that's very good. The only problem is it seems that it has got one of those cheap motors in it again, because once it gets up to a higher speed it's very noisy. But yeah, that is certainly very, very good. Okay. Let's speed up then and couple up to those wagons. Okay, hopefully she's coupled to those then. Let's see if she can pull them. I'll just make sure she's coupled. Yes, she is. Alright, let's see how this goes then. I'm going to set this to a cruise speed of 50. And I'll give her a whistle as well. There we go. Everything's going to be at a nice gentle freight speed today. So there's the wagons. And I'll start the regular Railroad 9F up as well. There we go. And finally then, the 8F. And here she goes then. Hopefully at a gentle speed. With her tanker wagons, of course. Alright, that's it then. So let's have a running session with these three then. And also on the line are more BR locomotives, so see if you can spot them all and name them all. There's the 8F. I do love these going at a real slow speed. I think they look fantastic. And hopefully the two 9Fs should pass at some point here. I don't know whether they will or not, but there's the regular railroad one. Or not. Hopefully the Crosti one will come around the corner. There it is. Well, they did cross, but at the last possible moment. Yes, it does run quite nicely actually, as you can see. It's got a real presence on the line, hasn't it? It looks so much bigger than the regular railroad one. And here it comes. And there you have it. Not struggling at all with these wagons, but then again, only a few of them have stones, so it's not very heavy to be honest. Yep, looks good. Look at that, it's excellent, isn't it? I do really like this one, and please let me know if you do as well. Beautiful. And of course, it is going so slow, but the wheels are going real quick. Look at that 8F, very, very quick. But not moving very fast at all. Now interestingly, the speed that this Crosti one is going at is what Hornby considers to be a cruise speed, so perhaps they did actually run at this speed in real life. When you see the wagons going along at this sort of speed, it does seem about right, doesn't it? So I'm not sure. She can go quite a bit quicker than this, but it doesn't seem right somehow, so yeah, I think I'll keep it like this. Okay, so now for my ratings then on the 9F. First of all, detail 8 out of 10. I've added an extra mark there because I just think the design of it is so clever, and it must be one of the most sophisticated toolings ever from Hornby. It really is a very impressive model. Performance 9 out of 10, very very nearly full marks, but the motor is just a tiny bit noisy and it's not all that smooth sometimes, but very very nearly perfect. Character 7 out of 10. I've never been a massive fan of the 9Fs because I think they're a totally different kettle of fish to A3s and A4s and whatnot, which I think are absolutely beautiful. However, Hornby have done a very good job, it looks like, of capturing the 9F with the Crosti boiler, so yep, quite a good mark there too. Build quality 9 out of 10, it seems to be very very solidly built, and there's not that many separately fitted parts, which means it is quite robust. Value, £120 I paid for this. I know Hornby charge more. It's not amazing value, but it's pretty good, so 8 out of 10. And that gives us overall 8.27 out of 10. And if we put that into the ranking, that is third, just under the Railroad Schools class, but still a very, very good mark. Yes, certainly very impressive machines, aren't they, the big freight locomotives? And it's great that we've got them in model form, of course, it really is. Especially when they don't jerk to a halt. Then we've got the 8F, of course. Again, a very lovely loco. This one's aging a little bit now, but it's still a very good model in my opinion. I don't know when I reviewed that one, I might need to do it again maybe one day. Well, moving on then, I think that should just about do it for today. Thank you very much for watching today. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And also, if you'd like to, you can check out my Facebook and Twitter pages. And they are at facebook.com/samstrains and twitter.com/samstrains. And also, if you'd like to have your name put up on this wall of fame, hold on, let me get a good shot of it, here it is. Then please send in your pictures or artwork to samstrains@outlook.com and I'd be glad to put those up for you. But for now, once again, thank you very much for watching as always, I do appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers everybody.